Hello, my name is Vince Romo. I want to thank you for tuning in today. What this show is about, it's about barrio lifestyle, about being raised in the barrio, being from the barrio, the do's and the don'ts, the what's and the where's, the who's in the house. Welcome to Barrio Driven.
Today I'm sitting down with David Trujillo, also known as Artie from Barrio Harpies. David, thank you for being on Barrio Driven. We're honored to have you. Before we get started, is there anything that you would like to tell the audience, a little brief introduction of yourself?
Well, my name is David Trujillo. As Vince just noted, I used to gang bang for the gang Harpies. They used to call me Artie. I did that to the age of 19 years old. At 19 is when I got saved. After that, I've never looked back. I've been walking with Jesus now for over 30 years, and I'm a pastor of a church called Calvary Chapel, South Los Angeles, up in the LA area.
Amen, amen. Thank you,
You're welcome.
for being here, Pastor David.
I'm honored.
You're in the hot seat.
Mm-hmm.
Not everybody wants to be in that hot seat, so thank you.
You're welcome.
Tell me about your childhood.
Well, when I was young, I remember I grew up with a mother who was sick. She was schizophrenic.
Wow.
It was caused because at an early age, before we were born, my mom was demon possessed.
Wow.
And that affected the way her mind was. It threw things off. Later, she was diagnosed as having a chemical imbalance, and then it was upgraded to schizophrenic, at the highest level. So being a child with my mom, with someone with that sickness, it was hard because you didn't understand the sickness. I mean, when you're young, you don't understand those medical terms. So we got to experience my mom do some crazy things, like for instance, at the age of 5, we would walk in and my mom was on the floor, foaming in the mouth because she was trying to kill herself.
Wow.
She constantly talked about, seeing demons, spiritual things and stuff like that. And, when we're young, when it was at home, it was like, okay, she's sick, we get it. But once she took that sickness outside of the home, that's when it became very embarrassing, to the point where, you don't want your mom around. My dad wasn't around because my dad was too busy playing in his band. He used to play at just a musician at bars and stuff.
Yeah.
So after work, he would go to, they'll go to the bars and he'll play. But so my dad was absent when we were young. So pretty much he left me and my 3 brothers raising my mom. And it got to the point where my mom would do some crazy things, like, we would be in elementary, she would shoot out to the school with bananas and milk, bro, asking the whole classroom, you guys hungry? And we're like, Mom, go home. But as a child, you're embarrassed,
Yeah.
And she did a lot of things. Like one day she showed up also naked to the school.
Wow.
And they had to call us out and say, your mom's right here and stuff like that. So at an early age, we didn't want to be outside of the house because we knew that my mom was going to do something that's going to throw us out. But little did I realize how those things would affect our minds, right?
Yeah, of course.
And so later on, my dad gave his life to the Lord, and he started pretty much serving. He worked himself up to become a steward for a Baptist church. And in the process, again, my mom's still being sick. At this time now, her sickness has gotten worse because my dad ignored it.
Yeah.
He didn't understand the importance of medication. He thought, God's going to heal her. God's going to heal her. Well, God didn't heal her, and it only made things worse. And so my dad was constantly at church meetings, and like I said, he became a steward, kind of like a minister.
Yeah.
And the ministry was good in a sense until it started becoming very controlled by the pastor. He took it to the head, and he started arranging marriages, telling people from the church to sell their houses, give the money to the church. That's kind of very legalistic.
Yeah.
Well, in the process, my dad ignored us. Again, he always found a way to be outside of the house. So, but slowly but surely, as my dad got more populated popular in the ministry, they kind of gave him responsibilities, and that was that the house would become like a place of ministry. So people will come in, people across the border, they'll come to the house. My dad would minister to them, but now we started housing them. Well, it was within those housing that me and my brothers got molested. We ended up getting molested in the church.
Yeah.
And at first we were afraid to say anything to our parents, because my dad was the type of dad that he would just spank us for anything. You know what I mean? Oh, you're lying, pass. Oh, you're doing this, pass.
Yeah.
And we're like, okay, we're not gonna say anything, right? But eventually, we kept it to ourselves, and then we ended up moving out from where we were. So we would move out a lot into a lot of places, from Hollywood, L.A., Pico Rivera. We lived all over the place. But this time we ended up going to L.A. on 9th and Burlington, and we were staying there at this. It was like an apartment complex, and there was a guy there who was molesting my brother. And at first, you don't really realize what's going on because I don't know if you heard of a group called Aquid.
Yeah, of course.
Okay,
yeah.
Paco was my best friend.
Oh, wow.
So Paco was my best friend, and that was his. It wasn't his uncle, but he called him his uncle. So he had this thing where he always wanted the kids from the apartments to be at his house. So he would rent movies for us, like pornography, give us pizza, he would have the girls from the apartment come down and, had little orgies. We didn't know what was going on. We were just messing around with all of us, but it was messing with our minds.
Of course, that's gonna mess up your mind.
Oh,
David.
yeah.
And about how old were you?
At this time, we were about 9.
So you gave a lot of information there. Whew. So, growing up, you first grew up when your father wasn't really around.
Mm-hmm.
Your mother was schizophrenic.
Mm-hmm.
You've come home. Your mother has shown up to your school naked, naked. Not only done that, but you have seen your mother foaming from the mouth. Mm-hmm. You said that she was schizophrenic, and I want to focus on that a little bit because that does mentally scar somebody.
Oh yeah.
That mentally scars somebody, especially a child.
To this day, it still affects me.
Oh yeah, to this day. I'm sure that from what you've been through in your life, I'm sure that you do suffer a little bit from PTSD.
Oh yeah.
Definitely. What was the worst thing that you seen your mom do in the house as a child? Because when people, and I don't know that much about schizophrenia, I know a little bit, but not much. So you're gonna school me. Like, would she ever be screaming for no reason? Would she ever be? So she would be.
Yes, I remember once we were watching Woody Woodpecker on TV.
Yeah.
And because we were watching it, she said it was the devil, so she brought a hammer and started, just
hitting the TV.
Breaking the TV. And we're like, Mom, what are you doing? But that wasn't the worst. I think the worst thing that I saw my mom do is one day she was cleaning, and we were telling her to stop, and she got very argumentative, and we're like, Mom, you need to stop. She's like, why am I going to stop? Don't tell me what to do. And she picked up a knife and just started stabbing herself.
Oh my God.
By the grace of God, it was those long knives that are not that solid, so it kind of like bent. But I'm looking at her like, Mom, what are you doing? And she's like, well, I'm going to kill myself if you guys don't listen and stuff like that. So for us, again, that was traumatizing.
I'm on this show, we hear a lot. That's why we call the hot seat, which you're sitting on, because we get very real. I think this is the only show that people really get as real as we do. We encourage every person that sits there to speak from the heart, as you're doing. Hearing you, man, I can't even comprehend how that made you feel. I mean, seeing your mom foam at her mouth on the floor, scream, probably, as you said, for no reason, breaking the TV with the hammer, stabbing herself, showing up to your school, totally, undressed, totally in the nude, showing up to your school naked, showing your father's not around. What is that doing to your mind, David? Honestly, how were you, if you could go back in time to where you were 8 or 9 years old, and I want you to go back into that time when you were 8 or 9 years old, where are you at? Where are you at?
I think the embarrassment, but also confused, not knowing what extent my mom can take her this sickness, like
Yeah.
would it take her to her death? You know, we didn't know. You know, we just, me and my brothers, we were very tight. We always stuck to each other, and my older brother was constantly tell us it's gonna be okay, don't worry about it. So we looked to our older brother,
To your older brother.
who was only 7 months older than us.
Oh, wow.
Because I'm a twin, so it was me and my brother, and then my 7 month older brother. You know.
Yeah.
And so we were constantly talking to each other, just saying it's gonna be okay, you know,
Yeah.
being there for one another. And but mentally, right there, we were confused and scared. Scared because
Yeah,
we didn't
of
know
course.
what to expect, you know, the next day. You know, this sickness, there's no telling how far it's gonna go.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, just to see her stab herself, you know, or attempt to kill herself, you know, was like the top of the list. Like,
Top
oh
of the
man,
list,
yeah,
yeah.
you know, how can we, you know, we need to put my mom somewhere, you know.
Put your mom somewhere.
Yeah.
Not only are you seeing all this and you're going through this, but your father started going to church.
Mm-hmm.
And by him starting to go to church, he's bringing people into your home.
Mm-hmm.
And these people start molesting you and your brothers.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man. Wow, Pastor David. I'm going to hit you heavy right now, okay?
Go for it.
I'm gonna hit you heavy. Describe to the audience the worst night that you can remember in your mind, because I know you remember it, because it hasn't left you through everything you've been through.
Mm-hmm.
The worst night of you being molested by this individual.
Well, it wasn't one, it was a few. One of them was my uncle.
Wow.
And my uncle, and looking back, he was young, he was in his teens.
Yeah.
But he would, remember I shared how my dad would spank us for anything.
Yeah.
So my uncle knew about it. So what he would do is he would make us give him blowjobs, telling us if we don't, he's gonna tell our dad that we did this, we did that. So we would do it out of fear, you know. Then there was this one night with this other guy, you know, I was sharing with you about my friend from this group.
Yeah.
How we were up there and he would have us do all these things. But one day I remember we were in his house and everyone just partying, but we didn't know the word partying back then, just having fun, you know, and falling asleep. And this guy would go around. Later on, we found out he would go around and molest the boys and the girls. And I remember when I was asleep, I remember waking up, but he was behind me. He was trying to penetrate.
Yeah.
But I remember I got up and I was like, "What are you doing?" And I kicked him. And he said, "Oh, don't say nothing." I said, "What do you mean don't say nothing, fool? Don't be touching me like that, you know?" And I remember I woke my brothers up and they were like, "Bro, just don't say nothing." I go, "No, what do you mean don't say nothing, man? This guy ain't gonna," you know, at that time we were a little bit more aware, you know, like, okay, this guy's crossing the lines.
Yeah.
And so I remember we left and it was crazy because he molested someone and from our group of friends.
Yeah.
And their parents, me and my brother, remember we went to the store. So we lived in this apartments, and at the bottom, connected to the apartments, was the liquor store.
Yeah.
So me and my brother and I were going to the liquor store. We were coming back. We were going to take the elevator up to the 9th floor. I mean, to the 5th floor. That's where our apartment was. And we saw this guy with the gun, you know. And we're like, me and my brother's like, "Is that real?" You know, when you're little, you don't know if it's a real gun or not.
Yeah.
Is that real? Is that real? And we're like, "Yeah," but he was just like mad, you know. So the next time I knew, this other guy, the guy who molested us, his brother, they look almost the same.
Yeah.
So he ends up coming and he gets on the elevator with the guy with the gun. And so me and my brother's like, "Okay, we're gonna take the stairs on this one."
Yeah.
But as soon as the doors close, you just hear bah, bah, you know, and the guy, you know, runs off and he ends up getting caught, of course.
Yeah.
But found out later that the guy thought that was the guy that molested his son. You know, but we knew that it wasn't him. It was his brother who did it.
Yeah.
So, you know, stuff like that will be going on, you know. But it came to the point where we finally decided to tell our dad.
Yeah.
You know, and this time, my dad, when he didn't believe us, because I had an uncle who was heavily involved in gangs from Harpies.
Yeah.
He they call him Choco. He's rest in peace now. But my dad hated gangs. That's one thing he didn't like. Yeah. So we knew that's a way to get back at him. You know what I mean? Join a gang And but not only that, we joined the gang and we're away from my mom's sickness. Where all that stuff. You grow up. You grow up in the hood, and that becomes your family, your substitute.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that was a way of escape for us.
Yeah.
I felt bad for my little brother and my little sister because they were still babies. 2, 3 years old around there. And they had to be brought up with my mom's sickness. And I'll share more in a few how that affected them and how that played a big role in our lives as well. But when we told our dad, he didn't believe us. So me and my brother's like, all right, you want to be that way? Fine. So we joined a gang. We joined Harpies. And
how old were you when you got into
we started claiming the gang at 10 years old.
Wow,
10. Around 11 we got jumped in.
Yeah.
But you know how it is, especially gangs are different. This Harpies. There's another gang called Dead End who were together.
Yeah.
Started like in the late 80s. I was around like 85, 86 around there. But what happened with our gang is that a lot of the guys from the gang, we played baseball together at the park.
Yeah.
We hung out. We were at school, Norwalk and all. So a lot of them we knew each other. So it was literally kind of like family.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So for us, it was easy to adapt into that gang life because they were our friends and later becoming our homies. But when we entered into the gang with number one, to have fun, and number two, to get back at our dad, little did we realize that there was going to be a bond that was going to be built there. And within that bond, slowly but surely, the love for my real family began to fade away. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So now the gang became priority over my own personal family.
Yeah.
And my excuse was, my dad doesn't care, my mom is sick, oh well.
Oh, wow.
And it got to the point where I remember homies would come to the house. You know how it is, man, and they would hang out. And my mom in her sickness and also in her dislike for the gangs, because even though she was sick, she understood that the gang life, no bueno, especially because her brother, my uncle, was in it. And he was a heroin dealer there in the hood and a gun dealer as well. So he had money, he had everything. And for us, it was very appealing. When my homeboys would come, my mom, I remember one night, he fell asleep right there. We partied. He, came out, hey, just stay at my pack, canal. So he stayed at my house, and my mom woke up slapping him. Get out of here, leave my son alone. And I remember I jumped up and I punched my mom, boom.
Oh, wow.
And I told her, don't ever hit my homies again. You do that again, I'll kill you. Who do you think you are? But again, at that time, I wasn't thinking straight. I was I lost it. But I remember. My grandma tried to rush me, parale, and I remember I pushed her and I told her, man, old lady, I'll knock you out. And again, it was just anger inside that was just coming out at that moment, unfortunately,
Well, you had a lot of hurt, from what you seen your mom do. Not only what you seen your mom do, but what has happened to you through your life. You had, I'm just gonna be real, you had a horrible childhood, girl.
Yeah.
And because of this, because of that childhood, you were able to sock your mom. Mm-hmm. Not only were you able to hit your mom, you were able to push you down, your abuelita. Mm-hmm. That's pretty heavy, carnal. Yeah. That's your abuela. But you had so much anger, so much hurt. And it's safe to say, and maybe I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure I'm right, that it is because of your childhood.
Yeah,
it is because of what you went through.
Yeah. Looking back, I understand that how bad it damaged our way of thinking.
Oh, your mind, everything. I can't even imagine. I am. I didn't have the best childhood either, but I didn't have. Not even close. Mm-hmm. When I hear some of the stories, and it's heavy. That's like our show is. It's not for the faint of heart. Our show is real, carnal.
Yeah.
And so hearing this. And you're around your homeboys now. Let me ask you this: how old were you when you first held your first strap? How old were you?
Oh, bro, I was very, very young. I would say 11.
11 years old.
11.
So you're 11 years old, and you're holding a gun.
Mm-hmm.
How did that make you feel, Carnal?
Powerful. Invincible. And also bold,
At that age, do you feel that you would have been able to take someone's life without a problem?
Of course.
Wow.
Of course. I know by the grace of God I've never did.
Yeah.
or I'll be busted, because
Yeah.
Scripture is true. The Bible
Yeah.
says you take some man's life, you'll be taken in, and you won't get out till every penny is paid, pretty much.
Yeah.
But I did hurt a lot of people, and I got delivered from all that maybe about 10 years ago, and we'll share more about that later.
Yeah.
But I remember the first time, and what triggered that was seeing my first death. My first death.
Tell me about that, Colonel. What happened that night?
Well, his name was Lazy. He wasn't from the hood. His brother was from the hood. They call him Sharky.
Yeah.
And he ended up we were trying to get him into the hood. They're from the neighborhood there.
Yeah.
But his families were Christians. But Sharky was from the hood. Lazy wasn't.
Yeah.
And he was 13 years old. And because we were all almost around the same age,
Yeah.
we were like, "Hey, what's up, Lips? What's up?"
Yeah,
we
yeah.
call him Lips or Lazy. And so one day there was a carnival that was right there on Jefferson, and I think over there by Vermont and Jefferson or Figueroa, one of those streets.
Yeah.
And so there was a carnival there. We were all hanging out there, and then we heard a gunshot, boom, gunshot,
Yeah.
a shotgun. And next time we knew, the homies were like, "Oh, someone got hit.
Yeah.
Hopefully the homies didn't get hit."
Yeah.
But my older brother, is running from that direction, gets to where we're at and say, "Hey, they shot Lazy." We're like, "What?" So I was on the ride actually. We jumped off the ride and we all ran down there, and we got there on time before the paramedics, where we saw him on the ground, and his head was pretty messed up. They shot him at close range. So
in
based
the
on
face?
in the face.
Oh, my
So
God.
based on what I heard, my brother said is that they were hit up, where you from? My brother, through the Ache. They were from 18th Street.
Yeah.
And my brother ran when he saw the cohetes, and they shot, and one hit my 13-year-old friend in the leg, and he fell. My brother kept running, and the guys got off and shot him in the head. So my brother ran straight to where we were to tell us, and when he heard the gunshot, all he said is, "Hey, I think they shot Lazy."
They shot
And they
him.
did. They ended up killing him. So being there and seeing him on the floor, I remember just standing over him and just like thinking, "Dude, is this real?"
Yeah.
Like I was looking at his legs, his hands, and I'm saying, "Oh, he's gonna get up any moment." I never seen a dead body before.
Yeah.
"Oh, he'll get up any moment. He'll get up any moment." And I'm just like, next time I knew, they're putting the ambulance comes, they put a white sheet over it. That pretty much says they're gone. And homeboys comes out, let's go. We get in the car and we're going to payback. You know how that is.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, not unfortunately, but fortunately, the cops saw what was going on.
Yeah.
We had cohetes and everything, and they stopped us. Helicopter came down, like in the 90s,
Yeah.
and they took us out, put us out in the ground and
curb.
everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we were literally like spread on the ground with the helicopter in the back, kind of like a color type movie.
Yeah.
and from there, by the grace of God, we got caught, or else we would have been.
You might.
Yeah.
And how old was he? 13.
He was 13 years old.
And our condolences to his family. If you're seeing this,
Yes.
you have our deepest condolences for your guys' loss. So he was murdered, and you saw this, and you saw your homeboy lying dead, and did that kind of, as you said, it was kind of like, is this real? Is this really happening? Did that put a little light on maybe, or still?
You know what's interesting, Vince? That because I grew up in a Christian home, like I told you,
Yeah.
I can hear the Lord telling me, "Get out of this, get out of here."
Get out.
But you learn to tune them off.
Tune him off.
I began to tune them off, and seeing everybody crying, seeing everybody, especially the older homies that understood the gang life. We were new to this.
Yeah.
Seeing them crying, slowly but surely, in my mind, I'm thinking, I can't believe they did this to little homie.
Yeah.
Oh, we got to get these fools back.
Yeah.
So now you start building your character as a gangster.
Yeah.
So for me, that was like the first step to, okay, being a vengeful man.
Yeah.
Now we're gonna go back, and of course, things had to be done.
Yeah.
And we did. And the reality is that it just made my heart harder.
Hardened. Yeah.
It got hardened. And right after that murder, it just started coming, doom, doom. And if you were to look back in the history of Harpies around the 90s, early 90s, we came out on the news.
Yeah, I was about to tell you
yeah.
that you guys were a very violent barrio. You know, there's a lot of history there in your barrio about, you know, which you guys could find this stuff for yourself. You know, it wasn't a barrio that you didn't want to be in the midst of your barrio late at night. I mean, if you're not,
Yeah.
you know, and you know, just to hear what you have came from, what you have been through is amazing. But we'll get there. We'll get there. So you're still gangbanging at 13, 14 years old. You first had a strap at 11 that made you feel invincible. Were you ever incarcerated? Did you ever go to juvenile hall?
Yes.
How old were you when you first got busted?
I think I was 12.
12. What did you get busted for?
I got busted for burglary, assault with a deadly weapon. Actually, no, that was later. I got caught with a gun with the serial number scratched out. You know, scratched out, so that's a felony.
Yeah.
And then we got taken in, my homeboy was with me, and he was afraid to go to jail. So he was crying. I was like, "What's up with you, bro? Why are you crying?"
Yeah.
He's like, "Oh, bro, I got a 5-0 in my." Back then 5-0s were like,
Yeah.
I got one in my shoe. I said, "Well, give it to me. I'm gonna go in anyway." So I ended up taking the 5-0 and ended up doing the time for him.
Yeah, doing the time for him. Yeah. What was the worst thing that you seen while you were incarcerated, or what was the worst thing that you were a part of while being incarcerated?
Well, for me, is going into a juvenile hall where the majority of people are your enemies.
Yeah.
You know, East Lake was prominently, it was dominated by 18th Street and gangs like Rockwood, Drifters, gangs that we didn't get along with.
Yeah.
And so I remember the first time I went in there, I'm sitting in the day room. I remember the day room, the kind of chairs, and you're sitting there, and you're fresh meat, so people come up and hit you up.
Yeah.
And I remember like saying to myself, don't rank out, you can't rank out.
Yeah.
But I was scared, bro, you know, like you seen all these vatos con brochas, you know,
and you're like,
you're like, oh Lord, I'm help, you know.
Yeah.
And I remember praying in my, before I went to the day room, I remember praying in my room saying, God, please, if you get me out, I'll go back to church, you know, and you know how that is. And I remember going out to the day room, and this one guy hits me up, where you from? And I told him Harpies, and he said Rockwood. And so I dissed him. And next time I knew, two other guys get up from 18th Street. At that time, they got along.
Yeah.
So they rushed me, bro, and they cracked my nose and you know, stomped on me. You know, that was like the first time I ever got jumped like that without, you know, being able to run.
Yeah.
Because you got nowhere to go.
Yeah,
so you just gotta, you know, take it in the chin,
Yeah.
you know. And so for me, that was probably the worst, because that was the first time I ever got jumped that way by 3 dudes.
Wow.
You know. And then they penalize you, right?
Yeah.
They take you to the box, and
Yeah,
in East Lake, it's horrible.
After getting a beat down.
Yeah. After you're like standing there in your underwear, you know, and like, I didn't do nothing, man. They hit me up,
They
you know.
came and got me. Yeah, exactly.
But you know something? It was crazy, because all that was still building the kid that I was. You know, the gangster. You know, the gangster mentality is go from juvenile hall to camp to YA to, you know, county to prison. That was my goal. So I've reached one goal. You know what I mean? And so, you know, I did a year, to be honest with you, because it was around a year, if I remember correctly, but fighting the case and going from East Lake and then going to Los Padrinos and being there. And then from Los Padrinos, you know, you finally get sentenced. Yeah. I was trying to fight it, but I lost it. My own abuelita turrata at me, bro. Wow. Because remember I told you I got caught for burglary.
Yeah.
But the crazy thing about it is that it wasn't like a burglary.
Yeah.
It was this kid across the street that I let borrow my Nintendo cartridges, you know, Kung Fu and Duck Hunt.
Yeah.
And he wouldn't give them back. So I ended up, when he was gone, I went through the back, broke into the house, took it. But I saw another game that I wanted, so I took that too.
That one too.
And my abuelita saw us, you know, and pretty much when the cops came, she said, "Yeah, my hijos went over there and took it." So that was my, you
Well,
know,
you
my
can't
ticket to
blame
jail.
her. You
No,
are
you
pushing
can't.
her down, and you
Yeah,
are.
yeah. She knew that something drastic had to happen and to get us to think. But you know, once you get into the system, you come out worse sometimes.
You do.
You know, and for me, I came out hating on blacks. You know, you know how many times we get in fights just because of our skin color. You know, as I came out with, you know, not only that, but now you come out more streetwise. You earn your stripes. You know, people respect you. And as soon as you come out, the homies are like, "Oh, dog, you did some tiempo," and now you're like this
You
hero.
feel like, oh, like you feel like, oh man, I found it. I made it almost.
Yeah.
And you know what's crazy is out here in California, we're very segregated. It's by me doing what I do for a living, you know, whether it's producing or whether it's filming, I've got to travel. And we're the only place that is like that. It's like I go to someone else and I see like Latin people and black people, they're all together.
Yeah.
They're chilling, they're barbecuing, they're having a good old time. Over here, we don't do that. You know, for those that know, we're very segregated. You know, we don't kick back. You know, you're not gonna see that at the barbecue. A whole bunch of we're very different here. We're very like, hey, you stay with yours, I stay with mine, and that's it, homie. You know what I'm saying? There's none of that.
Even at my church, right there, we're in actually borderline Watts in South LA.
Yeah.
And it's dominantly Hispanics.
Yeah.
And I mean, this Sunday I saw one black guy, you know, and I was like, in my mind, I'm thinking like, it just shows you how they won't cross certain lines, you know, and out of fear, you know, out of fear, and you know, like you said, we're segregated, you know, and it's just inbred into our brains,
our brain, yeah. So you're fresh out after doing a year. How did you feel, Carnal?
I felt, again, invincible, even more invincible. Now you got some reputation, you got some respect. And you know, now it's a whole new thing. By this time, I know I'm out. You know, I'm trying to change things up in the neighborhood because they turned what is called mayateros. You know, they were in the filas and all that stuff. So you know, when you're in jail, you wear the Converse and you know the ball head. And so I was like, hey, homie, why you guys were dressing dressed like that? It's time to get back to the Ben Davis and all that stuff. So my goal was to change those way of dressing. You know. And so I, you know, and again, going back, you know, it wasn't easy. If you remember in the 90s,
we're brutal, man. The
90s
bro. Were brutal.
Well, we ended up getting a green light. Harpies ended up getting a green light because of the peace treating. You know, a lot of us didn't want to participate. I know I didn't want to be part of it because of guys like my homeboy, Lazy and Bronco and Gumby. You know, there was guys that I was like, man, I can't forgive this guy's daddy killed my homeboys. So a lot of the homies were getting jumped in county, and they were telling us, hey, we gotta submit. But anyways, the green light on the neighborhood allowed other gangs to come. Yeah. And that one year, I think it was 91, we lost 17 homeboys to gang violence. Wow. And I can say there was a few of them that died in my arms. Like, let me give you one example. Bronco, we called him Tony. He was 17 years old.
Tell us that night, exactly what happened.
So he had just gotten busted for weed, but they let him out. It was first offense. So he was staying at my house. Yeah. And so I wanted to go to the neighborhood. So I tell him, let's go to the neighborhood. Like, nah, bro, you know, I don't want to go to jail. You know, for him, man, he went to joke. He went to the police station. So, but it was him and my brothers like, hey, don't go, Bronco. Just stay with me. We'll hang out at the Cantona. Yeah. And I was like, come on, dog. You gonna let me down? You gonna let me down? Yeah. So you know how it is. All right, dog. So he ended up coming with me, right? So that night, we're hanging out on Ellendale. And there's this homegirl, and she's just right here, kind of, you know, just homegirls hugging with homeboys, and hey, what's up, and all this stuff. And my brother, another guy named William, call him Wicked, and Bronco come up to me, and they say, hey, dog, can I get a cigarette? And I was like, yeah, Simon, you know. So the girl moves, and I pulled out my pack of cigarettes, and I start giving it to them. And then a car drives back from behind us. It was a Mustang, a red Mustang, and they pulled out a rifle and just blasted, right? And the first bullet hit my brother in his privates. Oh. The other brother got hit in the shoulder area here. Okay. And then my homeboy Bronco, his name was Tony, got hit in the heart. Oh man. But what happened was that it was a 22, and you know how 22s are. 22s, they travel.
They travel. Yeah. They just don't sit there, bro.
Yeah. And so they cause more damages than anything. Yeah. So, but because he was a husky guy, he was able to get my brother and my other homeboy in a car and take him to the hospital. But then he comes up to me and says, Dave. Oh, Artie, hey dog, check my back, something's burning. So when I lifted his shirt, I saw this little dot, you know, very small, and little blood. And I said, hey bro, I think you got shot, homie. And he's like, what? And I think you got shot. And he started like freaking out. Like, oh, what? And I can tell like that just set him to a panic mode. Yeah. And he started like freaking out. So he collapsed to the ground, and I grabbed him, and I was like, Bronco. And he's like, bro, I don't want to die. I don't want to die. I don't want to die. And I'm like, Bronco, you're not going to die, dog. We're from Harper's. We don't die. We multiply. We had that mentality, right? So I'm over here slapping him, telling me he's not going to die. But I can see that he's just panicking.
Yeah.
And fighting for his life, too. So I have him here like this because he's a heavy dude. So I have him here. And like, Bronco, come on, look at me, dog. Look at me. And he's like, I don't want to die. I don't want to die. I don't want to die. And then what got to me and what was very chilling is that he said something that it haunted me until I got saved. He said, I don't want to go to hell. I don't want to go to hell. I don't want to go to hell. And that was the last words. He rolled his eyes back and he died. Wow. And I remember just looking at him and saying like, dude, this is crazy. Like, what am I doing here? Like, man. So we're waiting. The ambulance comes, and we're mad with the paramedics, with the cops, because we're thinking they can still save him. But little did I realize he was gone already.
He was gone.
Found out later that bullet traveled, hit one of his main arteries, and he bled out inside. So he choked on his own blood too. So anyways, from that point on, I remember just thinking like, man, he can be in hell right now, and it lingered in my mind for about a couple weeks.
Yeah.
But you have to move on, right? Yeah. And homeless were getting killed left and right. So there was an attempt from my dad to try to bring us back to the Lord. And I might get emotional, okay? So
No, your father, he actually ended up because we didn't focus too much on that. Okay. He was going to church and he started bringing people, which brought to the. So he ended up actually really getting a close relationship with God.
So what happened was that we all got food poisoning at the church. Find out later that we were trying to communicate to my dad, and the pastor would not allow my dad to return the call because he was doing the Lord's business, right? Uh-huh. So, yeah, it's crazy, bro. So it ends up that when my dad found out that we were calling him, but they weren't passing the phone to him, he got angry, so he ended up leaving the church.
Yeah.
So when he left the church, he got a little hurt because nobody was really reaching out to him. They pretty much just marked him as a heretic.
Yeah.
And he left. Those were usually, legalistic churches would do that,
Yeah.
So by this time, we're heavily involved in gangs. We've lost so many homies. And my dad told us, this is what he told us, that he told God, Lord, if you're going to send my children to hell, then I'm going with them, And so my dad, in his desperation, tried to reach us. So he slowly but surely started coming around. He would buy us beer. We would smoke cigarettes with him. He even got a tattoo, Mi Vida Loca. And like, you never had a Vida Loca,
Yeah.
But he was just trying to fit in with his sons.
Yeah.
We saw the intent, but there was that,
Yeah.
that dude, you still didn't believe us. You know what I mean? So going back to that one time I was telling you, my dad decided, I used to live in 29th and Western, and we lived in the attic. My dad built us a room, and it was all, gangster. That was all placado. All the homies were right on it.
Yeah.
And one day he went up there and he said, David, and I go, what's up, Dad? He goes, I want you to go to church with me. And I said, I ain't gonna go to church with you, man. Don't talk to me about that crap.
Yeah.
And he's all like, mijo, you need to come to church with me. I said, I'm not going to church, man.
Yeah.
And he's all like, oh, you're gonna go to church. I said, no, I'm not gonna go to church. And in his anger, because I kept refusing him, he said, well, screw harpies.
Oh, wow.
He dissed us.
Yeah.
And that in your mind, there were a lot that goes from A to Z like this, 1 to 10.
Yeah.
So I said, what you say? And he says, and so I said, don't be dissing my hood fool. And I started boxing with my dad. Wow. But he was bigger, I was a little flaquito. So, he just grabbed me. And what was crazy is that he decided to stop and just hug me. And he had me like this. And I'm like, let me go, fool, let me go, And he tells me, stop, don't you see what's going on, man? You're going to end up getting killed and you're going to end up going to hell. And he's like, mijo, I love you.
That's heavy.
And when he said that, I was like, what? And it made me stop, bro, like, what? And he goes, I love you, man. You're my son. And I told him, don't you ever tell me you love me again. I hate you, man. And I remember I ran out the house. I pushed him and I ran out. But, dude, for the first time I heard my dad say that, it messed up my head. Now I'm like, how could you love me, dude? You let these fools molest us, man. You could have done this and you didn't do nothing about it. In my mind, I remember those. I was arguing with myself.
Yeah.
So, it kind of, things calmed down. My dad realized that he had lost control, to the point where my dad now was trying his best to try to reach us. My mom, in her sickness, This is where it gets crazy. What she would do is she would take my little brother and little sister to the neighborhood to actually go and look for us. So everybody knew, Chela, that was her mom. If she's here, I would tell them we're not here. We were like, Mama's just trying to do their best. And one night, my mom went looking for us, and we couldn't find her the next day. She was gone. With my little brother and my little sister, and we're like, man, what's going on, man? Like, where's my mom? Where's my, where they at? And they're calling us, cuates. She went looking for you guys, and I'm like, oh Lord, where's my mom? Yeah. And later on, she ends up being at the police station. And we got her, and they pretty much told us that she was raped. While she was looking for us, she was raped. And here's a crazy thing, Vince. It was my own homeboys, older homeboys. See, I hung out with the younger guys. These were older homeboys, que eran tecatos. Oh, so man. What they did, based on what we heard later on in life, that they ended up telling her that they knew where we were. They took her at a hotel, and they told her they were going to come and get us, pretty much, and they raped her. And just a few years, I would say about 7 years ago, we had the conversation with my little brother and my little sister. And we told them, and we shared what I'm sharing with you. Yeah. And my brother said, wait a minute. I remember that day. He said, my mom was in the room, and we were in the living room playing video games. He said, I had no idea they were raping my mom. And he said, I wish I could have done something if I knew. Yeah. So, and then we heard about that. Yeah. And so, of course, I was confused. Mentally, I'm thinking, that's my homies. That's my mom. My homies. My mom. Oh, I didn't know who to choose. Because not only was I like all in for the gang, in my mind, I reasoned they were older homies, so they're not even my homies. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. These are the older guys. So, but we decided to do something. Like, okay, we're gonna go get these fools, and we're gonna do it in a way in which we're not gonna get the homies on us. Yeah. And my uncle Choco, who's veterano, he came up and says, "Hey, I know who it is. That's my sister. You guys stay away. Don't worry about it. I got it." And find out later he ended up shooting them. They didn't kill them, but shot them up. And stuff like that. So that at least brought some kind of peace to our hearts, in that we paid him back, right? I never found out who it was. My uncle never told us. Yeah. I just knew that he shot him. So anyways, but during that time, as a child, I'm talking about, this is about 16, 15 years old, around that age. Yeah. And so all that is going on. Homeboys are dropping like flies everywhere. We're constantly in funerals after funerals after funerals. And it got to the point, it was just like, I remember standing over one homeboy and thinking, man, hey, homie, better you than me, man. Wow. And so my dad's final attempt, this where it goes. He asks us, Dad, mijos, can you guys do me a favor? I said, what's up? He said, can you guys go with me to Thanksgiving? I said, yeah, we'll go. But it was in 18th Street neighborhood, right there in Hoover Locals. And so we ended up going, and actually we were all hanging around there, and we knew that, we can't go with her, man. We get caught sleeping, they got to take us out. Yeah. He said, mijo, I promise you, you can hide, We'll go eat and we'll take out. I said, all right, let's do it, man. So, at that time we were like, okay, we're a little bit more mature. Yeah. We're thinking, okay, my dad just wants to hang out with us. Yeah. So I said, all right, let's go, Dad. So me and my brother Angel ended up going. And I told my dad, Dad, if my tias say something, man, I'm telling you right now, I'm not going to play their games. I'm warning you, Dad. He said, all right, mijo, I get it. So my dad ended up telling my tias, hey, they're going to come. Please don't tell them nothing. They were like privileged, you know what I mean? They had money, and they saw us like nothing but, like nothing, like we're nada. Yeah. So we went, right? All the families gathered, and I'm sitting with my dad, and I can tell my tias are just like holding in. They want to say something, Yeah. And the first thing my tia says, hey, some cholos, man, broke into my car and took my this and that. And I was like, yeah, that's them, not us, man. We're, you live around here, man. We're over there. Yeah. Why is that? You cholos are always, putting us down. Yeah. And I told her, hey, stop, man, stop. Yeah. You know, well, look at your mom. You know, she's sick. You know, look at your dad. You know, he works hard and you got. And I got up and I said, man, screw you, man. I go, who the hell you think you are?
Yeah.
You know, excuse my language. I don't know if that's about word or not. No. And he's all like, my tia's like, what? I go, don't be talking to me. She tells me, don't be talking to me like that in my house. Like, man, you don't even know who the heck you're messing with, man. Yeah. And I grabbed the filero and I said, man, I'll take you all right now. Yeah. And as things were heating up, my brother got up, I got up, and we're like, man, you guys really want to mess with us? All right, but let's do it. And my dad stood up. What are you doing? I told you guys. And started calling them, you know, names and stuff. And I told my dad, I'm out of here. So we ended up walking out. And I realized that we're in 18th Street. No, we forgot, you know. Yeah. But when we're walking out, me and my brother walking out, I hear my dad say, I can't believe you guys. I asked you for one favor, you bunch of bleep, 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 bleep. And those are my sons, man. And I finally got them to come. Yeah. And I remember thinking, dude, my dad's backing us up. Yeah. You know? So my dad comes down and he goes, Mijo, I'm sorry. Hey, don't worry about it. Dad, you're trying to be all hard. Yeah. Inside it was hurting. Of course. You know? And my dad says, come on, Mijo, I'll take you where you want to go. I said, all right, man, take me to the hood. So me and my brother get in the car and he's taking us to the hood, and you know, he's quiet, and I'm looking at him, you know, corner of my eye, and I'm like, man, dude, like yeah. I'm lonely, you know, I'm miserable. Yeah. And so he gets to Jack in the Box on Vermont, and he's all right, mijo. He goes, you guys can go. And I said, all right, Dad, thanks, man, I appreciate that. Hey, no worry, mijo, I love you guys. I said, all right, Dad, and we close the door and he drives out, bro. And I remember thinking, if my dad stops and comes back, I'll go with him. You know, I'll go. Yeah.
If you need some time, you can do it.
Boys need their pops.
Yeah.
You know,
they do. They do.
And we saw him drive away. And then it was just like, all right, back to the hood things. Yeah. and just going at it again, bro. But going back to jail, this time we went in for attempted murder, me and my brother. I got jumped at Slas and Swami by Florencia. One of my homeboys, when I was getting jumped, had an ice pick, went and stabbed the guy. And the guy was on the floor and he pointed at my brother, but we were twins. Yeah. So I was like, hey, man, you know, Rata right here, man. So it's crazy, bro. We were handcuffed and the police had us, and the guy's on the ground like, before the paramedics come. And he's like, he stabbed me. He pointed at my brother. And I was like, you Rata. And we both were handcuffed. We went and started stomping on the guy. You know, the Hudas beat us up back then. They would beat us up, remember? Yeah. And so I told the Huda, hey, man, we're twins. Look, man, how does he know? Maybe it was me. Maybe it was him. Well, who did it? Like, I don't know. So they took us both in. Yeah. And so we both went in for attempted murder. We went to see the judge. The judge knew us, bro. She's like, you again? You guys again? Come on, man. And then I told her, listen, her name was Johnson. Hey, Miss Johnson, every time we came into your court, we always pleaded guilty. Yeah. I'm telling you, we're not guilty. Yeah. You know, we didn't stab the guy. I was getting jumped. Yeah. Well, who stabbed him? I said, I don't know, man. I'm getting jumped. I'm not going to look around as a filero. Yeah. So she believed us. You know what I mean? She believed us, I can tell. But, you know, they still had to be the process, so they dropped it from attempted murder to assault with a deadly weapon, and it went all the way down to an assault. Yeah. And finally, they pretty much split the time. Me and my brother ended up doing 6 months for it, so it was nothing. You know, that's like whatever.
Yeah. And so you were incarcerated this time for attempted murder, and, you know, being a gang member, you were very proud to be from your body.
Oh, yeah.
And one thing that we always talk about, too, is we talk about our tats. Do you mind if we focus on some of your tats?
Yeah, sure. I used to have harpies. I blocked it off there.
I still see you still got it on your hands right there.
Yeah, I got it here. I had it here. This, I was 12 years old. If you can look closer, you know, it was done con aguja, and, you know, just like this.
We're going to get a focus on it real quick.
I got this one. It says Brown Pride, 13. You know, the whole thing with Brown Pride. I have a eagle for the harpies in the back. So, and then I covered the harpies I had in my back. Yeah. and then I put a scripture in the bottom.
So you actually had your battery here before.
Yeah, it was a cross.
And you got it covered.
I got it covered
With the scripture.
with the scripture.
That's a beautiful. What else do you have?
I got the P, but don't worry about that one. That was just a trust no woman.
Trust no woman. That's what this says. Trust no woman.
Church work.
Trust no woman. Then you have.
I have trust no man right here, little one here.
Trust no man.
I try to like put it in there.
Then you have the.
On this one, I had heartbeats right here, but I covered it, as you can see,
covered it,
it's
yeah.
inside there. I just did whatever. And I had a ugly smile, I'll cry later.
You still have your heartbeat battery on your
Yeah.
hand. Right here.
Yes.
We see that.
And that's dead end.
Right
Dead
here.
end 13.
So you have your battery
Mhm.
all over here, right here.
Yes.
What else do you
So
have?
here, let me see. I had pretty much this is the life of my wife.
Yeah.
you
your
know,
wife.
me and her getting together. Then we broke up. She became a clown,
Yeah.
and she was my passion, my lust.
Yeah.
You know, and then when we broke up, it was just my imagination because she was gone.
She was gone.
She was gone.
She was gone.
Well, we got back together and we ended up getting married later on in life.
Are you still with
Oh
her?
yeah.
Oh wow, praise
Yeah,
God.
we're both together now, serving the Lord.
Oh, that's a blessing.
Yes.
That's a blessing.
We broke up for about a year.
About a
She
year.
just got tired of me being busted when I was young. So,
Yeah.
you know how that is.
Yeah, she gave up on you,
Yeah, pretty much.
but God brought her back.
But God brought her back, bro. That and some fear tactics.
Fear tactics.
You know. So where were we?
So you're incarcerated now with your carnal,
Mm-hmm.
and you did 6 months,
Mm-hmm.
and you're out now.
Mm-hmm.
You're just getting out. Tell me about you getting out. What are you going back to?
So this time, my dad again. So I'll focus a little on my dad and my girlfriend, which we're talking about right now.
Yeah.
I was with my girlfriend. There was this one incident that I'll share with you because these things are what brought me to the Lord. Okay, because I realized that when I was before I started gangbanging, I went to a church called Victory Outreach up in on Westlake area, and I remember going up on an altar call. You know how they had those Duke of Earls and all that?
Yes.
So all that was fascinating to me. So I went into up in an altar call. And I remember I was praying and I told God, Lord, I'm going to get older. Don't forget about me. Don't leave me, you know? I remember that prayer, bro, because I was crying, God, I don't want to go to hell. So as I get older, please don't ever leave me.
Yeah.
So bro, he kept his word. Because when I was with my girl, I remember there's one time, again, during the time where we were getting shot at, jumped at. I mean, I've been shot at so many times, never hit by the grace of God. My brothers were. But I remember this one time we were at AM/PM, man, and it was Christmas. It was the 24th, Christmas Eve, and we're hanging out there, and this car drives up, boom, right, and they pull out an AK-47.
Wow.
And I'm like from here to where the lights at. Like, where you from? I said, and I'm like, you don't have to. My girlfriend back then was here, and a few other homeboys.
Yeah.
And I can see the cohete, and I'm looking. I'm like, man, I'm dead.
Yeah.
But I saw them do this, but nothing was coming out.
It was jammed.
Yeah. See, I didn't realize that there was jam. In my mind, I'm thinking it's a fake gun. Because I'm thinking like a kid here, bro,
Yeah.
So I see him do this, and then he starts laughing. So I'm like, oh, this is fake, homie. So they take off laughing, but little did I realize later, and believe it or not, I shared this story once at a conference, and there was a guy who was actually there who came up and said, hey, bro, what you just said? He goes, I was on the other side. I remember you.
Wow.
So his name is Joseph. But anyways, so what
So
happened?
you were about to be killed.
Yeah.
You were about to lose your life.
Yes.
And you were actually laughing at it.
Well, no, they were laughing at me. So that made me believe that it was a fake
was
gun.
fake.
So when they took off, my homeboy came around and said, hey, dog, let's go. So I jumped in the car. Told my girl, hold on, I'm going to go. I jumped in the car. So it was my homeboy Tavo who was driving. It was me and my homeboy Sparky on the back. So we ended up chasing them. Boom. So they took off under the 10th underpath.
Yeah.
And we followed them. Little did we realize it was a setup. So it was all a setup, bro.
Really?
So once you cross the 10th freeway, it's all 18th Street.
So they came up as a setup to get you to follow them.
Follow them.
Wow.
Yeah, bro.
Ooh,
So
that's pretty damn smart.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, because they got us, bro. So what happened was, as they come across like this, we ended up. So they made a U-turn, went to the tent.
Yeah.
We came off and followed them, but I can hear gunshots. Pa 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 pa. And when we're getting closer to the tent, I see one of my homeboys, Sapo, driving right past us. They're blasting at him.
Yeah.
And next time I knew, this car just comes from the side and hits us. Boom. And I remember looking, and he hits us and then comes across like this. Now we're like this. We got under the tent underpath, and they start shooting. I remember I would duck, and I can hear the bullets, bing, 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 hitting the car. But it wasn't hitting me, bro. So I would get up and I say, "Los harpies," and they'll start shooting. Ta, 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 ta. So I'll come back down.
And you had no strap.
Nada, cana. We didn't have nothing.
So these guys actually, they actually hit your car with
They
a
hit the
car. With another car.
Yeah, they were bumping it like this.
So they hit you with another car. So they're right next to you, from what I'm understanding.
So it's like
and
this.
They're dumping on you.
They're dumping on us.
And you're pulling up. They're saying, oh my gosh, homie.
So,
Carnal, hey, let me tell you something. You had some huevos, homie.
It's because you know how it is. We don't think. You're not thinking. It's just whatever comes out. You're thinking it's not gonna hit you. You're not gonna die. And I'm being honest. I didn't think I was gonna die. I'm thinking, oh, I'm gonna survive this. This is fake. This is not real. It felt like a dream, to be honest with you. Those dreams where you're just like, you're in a place and then you realize, oh man, I'm in a dream, right? So that's how I saw everything, because everything slowed down in my mind, bro. Everything slowed down. So I tell my homeboy, hey, make a left on this, I forgot the name of the street, and get on the freeway, bro. If we don't get on the freeway, we're gonna end up getting killed. So my homeboy ends up making a left. They're following us. And I look back now, I see more Regals, so I realized, okay, like, they were waiting for us.
They're coming, homie.
So they ended up making a left into the freeway. We made a left into the freeway, and they were waiting for us in the entrance of the freeway. So they come at us, we're coming like this, and they come and they hit us, boom, like this. So the car starts spinning, right? The car is spinning. I didn't realize that my homeboy, while it's spinning, jumps off the car and bails, right? He ends up taking out. Homie. The car stops, bro. I get off and I start running, but now the car's all messed up. And later on, we got to see it. It had a bunch of bullet holes. It looked like a Volkswagen, bro. That's how bad they beat it up, right? So I stop. I start running, but in my, when you're running, you're just afraid. You're just trying to stay alive.
Get out, yeah.
So I'm running towards them while they're running towards us. And I remember there was maybe about, almost a block, and I can see their faces, bro. And this vato had his hat. And it said XV3, like that, big vato. And he's running at me like this, and I'm watching him, and I don't know where I just start screaming, bro. Ah! And it's crazy because I saw their faces go like from this to like, what's up with this vato,
Yeah.
But I'm freaking out.
Yeah.
And so that gave me enough time to stop, realize what was going on, and I started heading back the other way. So when I ran back the other way, my homeboy's like, hey, Artie, my foot's stuck. So I'm trying to get him unlocked, unloosen his leg, because when they hit the car, it got pinned with the seat.
Wow.
So we were able to unloose it. Bro, everything happened like this, bro. It's crazy.
Quick, yeah.
And so we both got off. He got off, he joined me, and we ran into a party. It was a little party that was happening there. So we ran into the party, and we went all the way to where the DJ was, bro. So we're hiding by the tables, And we're looking, as we can see the vatos from 18, they're coming, right? And we're like, oh, dude, you just stay here. And then these guys are dancing, and bro, they're cholos. So we're like, what's these fools? They're like, hey, where you vatos from? And we're like, los harpies, like Bullington. Oh, man. So we didn't get along with them.
Yeah.
So they started jumping us, bro. So they start jumping us, but you know how it is that when there's so many, they can't really hit you, So you're kind of doing this run through the middle.
Yeah.
So we're running through the middle, and of course, my homeboy ends up getting out first. He runs to the left, I run to the right, and he starts screaming. And I remember I said, man, I stopped, and I was going to run towards his direction, pero tenían combates. They were beating him up with bats.
Oh, man.
By then, I'll be honest, bro, it's to every man his own. You know what I'm saying? It's survival mode. So I start out running, and this car stopped. The car that was shooting at us, when it hit us, it comes this way. He stops right in front of me with the cuete. Where you from, fool? And I'm looking at him like this, But again, it just comes out. With harpies, that's it. And he goes like this, and he won't shoot, bro. Just doing this. And I'm just like looking at him, and again. Pero me pega con el cuete right here. And I fall to the ground. And as a mind of a kid, I'm thinking, play dead. Play dead. He ain't gonna do nothing. But I can hear he's trying to unlock it. He's trying to unlock it. And bro, I can hear a voice say, get up and run. I can just hear like, get up and run. And you know that voice that is not your voice, it's an inner voice. Yes. So I said, okay. So I got up and I just started running, bro. I literally started running across the freeway. And the guy's following me with all of his homeboys. He unlocks it and he just starts dumping on me. Doo, 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 doo. I'm running across the 10 freeway around 7 o'clock. So the traffic's running. Bro, I felt like Frogger, bro. Just, yeah. And it was crazy, bro. And I can literally see when the bullets were hitting the ground, like la chispa. I got to the other side where my homeboy had got away. Yeah. Somehow he ended up around there. We ended up connecting and we ran back to the neighborhood. And my wife's looking at me like this. And I go, oh my God, we got to go back for Tavo, man. He's over there. And she's like, you're alive? And I was like, what are you talking about? We got to go back with Tavo. And he's like, and then Tavo comes running, bro, I'm right here, dog. I jumped off. Like, oh, bro, I'm over there thinking they caught you, man. He goes, nah, bro, I jumped off and I got away. But I remember my wife telling me, like, dude, we thought you were dead. Yeah. I ended up having all these bruises in my faces. Yeah. But I remember that night just thinking, I could end up in hell. Wow. I could have been in hell. Yeah. Bro, and for, again, another week or two, I'm thinking, oh, man, I could have been in hell. Yeah. So I thank God that my dad brought us up in a Christian home, even though we had some bad experiences, because that at least got me thinking about heaven and hell. Yeah, exactly. Yes. So all this, right? That's the second time that the Lord speaks to me. The third time, it's when my friend Gumby, Henry Altamirano, he was 18 years old. Remember I told you my dad, in his attempt to try to get us away from gangs, he ended up moving to Rialto, right? When we were out there, my homeboy Gumby, when I was busted, he developed a friendship with my dad. Yeah. So my dad had his own company, so he do like sofas and stuff like that, upholstery. Yeah. So he hired him, and because he was illegal, le podía, you know how we do it, to try to take care of the gente. So he hired him, and he just developed this friendship with him. Ends up that he moved out to Rialto, so when we got out, we automatically are away from LA. Yeah. But that don't stop us, bro. Distance is nothing. Of course not. So when we're out, I got out, by this time, I'm not with my girl, we have broken up due to the fact that when the second time I was busted, she ended up breaking up with me. She ended up being with a homie. You know how that is, man. And I hate that stuff. But you know something, bro? I shot at my. That's a whole different story. But anyways, going back to it here. So we're at Rialto, and he comes up to me and he says, "Hey, well, before that, we're just about a week or so, and I'm trying to go back to the neighborhood. My mom, in her sickness, comes up to me and my brother and says, hey, my dad was at work with my homeboy. And he says, hey, mijo, your dad's cheating on me. And we're like, what? Yeah, your dad's cheating on me. I go, really? Yeah, mijo, he's going to leave us. And, but she was sick. Yeah. We didn't get it. Yeah. So I told him, really? All right. Well, we'll see what's up. So I call my dad. Me and my brother call my dad. He goes, hey, Dad, what's up? Who do you think you are, fool? Like, what? I go, who do you think you are, man? Trying to break my mom's heart? You're going to leave my mom and us? Oh, you're a fool. I'll kill you before you do something stupid. He didn't take it serious. Yeah. He just said, oh, mijo, come on. What do you mean, come on, fool? Wait till you get home. You see what I got waiting for you. Yeah. So he ended up coming home, my homeboy Gumby. Yeah. Bro, we had a double-barrel shotgun. Me and my brother were going to kill my dad. Wow. So my dad walks in.
So you were going to, and I didn't mean,
now go ahead.
You're going to kill your dad.
Yeah.
So even though you were so much in darkness that even though your dad, the one that, even though you guys had a little tussle, he put his arms around you, told you, mijo, I love you. Please stop, mijo. I love you. I love you. Don't do this. Don't fight with me. I love you. The one that took you to church, you're about to kill him. You're going to take your father's life. And you would have been able to do that at that time. At that time.
You know how that, when you get into, for me, it's you get into that dark mode where you don't think. Yeah. Rage takes over. Yeah. You're not thinking straight. Yeah. It's not until you're in jail you realize, dude, what did I do this for, Yeah. But that moment, I was in a very dark, because I'm thinking, he's going to hurt my mom? In other words, in my mind, I'm thinking, he's not, well, we're going to have to end up taking care of her? You crazy fool. It was always selfish reasons. Yeah. But at the same time, she's still my mama, regardless of how sick she was. Yeah. So my dad didn't believe us, so he ends up coming home. And as soon as he comes home, I rushed him with a shotgun. And I say, fool, you really think you're gonna? And my dad literally got on his knees and cried, bro. Ugh.
I would have cried too for my son because I love my son. Or any of my kids would try to kill me. I would cry too. That's heavy.
It's something about seeing your pops, babe.
Yeah, I can't imagine. You've been through a lot, David. You know, being molested as a child, seeing your friends die in your arms, going in and out of jail, being incarcerated. You know, what you seen your mom do, everything that your mom put you through, and now you're ready to kill your own father.
Yeah.
And
So
he's begging for his life.
yeah. And me and my brother are threatening him, and he's begging, crying, "Mijo, stop, please. You know your mom is crazy," he's saying. At that time, my homeboy Gumby, who was my road dog, bro, my best friend, he wrestled the gun from us. You know, "Stop, fool, what are you doing? That's your pops. You know he's good, and your mom's crazy." You know, and I was like, man, and I look at my dad, you know, those eyes that, "I'll kill you if you leave her." And I voiced, I said, "Dad, you ever leave my mom, I'll take you out." I said, "No one's gonna do that to my mom." And my poor dad was scared of us. He was scared of us, bro. By this time, he lost full control, you know? So a couple of days later pass, and things calm down, and my homeboy Gumby comes up to me and says, "Hey, Artie," I go, "What's up, bro?" He goes, "I was talking to your mom, man." He goes, "And she told me about God." And I said, "What?" Don't go there, carnal. He goes, "Yeah, no, he did, but she did, bro." He said, "She told me about hell. Because, bro, with all the homies getting killed, I would hate if you guys, you and your carnal, he calls los cuatitos. He goes, I would hate if you guys end up dead and end up in hell. He goes, carnal, I want to go to hell, carnal." And I told him, "Bro, come on, dog. Come on." He's like, "Come on, let's go to church." I said, "Chales, we're not going to go to church. I just got out, bro. We want to party, man. You know, come on, homie. It's been a week, you know." Yeah. He's like, "Come on." So he started pleading with us. "Come on, dude. Too many homies are dying, man."
Yeah.
And so I said, and bro, he wasn't going to take no for an answer, right? So finally I said, all right, dog, we'll go on Sunday. I said, "We'll go to the neighborhood with me on Friday." I said, "You go to the neighborhood with me on Friday, bro?" I told him, "I'll go to the neighborhood. I mean, go to church with me. Go to the neighborhood with me on Friday. I'll go to church with you on Sunday."
Yeah.
He says, "All right, deal." So we're all right. So we ended up calling this girl from South Los, you know, the Carla Bandit. And I told her, "Hey, you know," she was all in love with me, bro. So, you know, she was willing to come all the way, pick us up, take us back to the hood. Yeah. So we called her, "Hey, Kyle, we're gonna go hang out at the neighborhood." So she came, and he had his girlfriend, and we're driving to the neighborhood, and we're gonna go to the beach. But right before we get on the 10th freeway ramp, right there off Hoover, my homeboy tells me, "Hey, Kana, I left my sarape back in Juliet. Let's go by and pick it up. You know, it might get cold." I said, "Dog, come on." So, all right, let's go. So I'm driving this car. So I ended up driving the car, but you know, you like to mess around. Yeah. We start going, making those snake turns, and they're all falling, laughing. We're having a great time, bro. Yeah. And there was no alcohol, nothing. We were just gonna go and kick it with the girls. Yeah. So we ended up going, and in the process, I passed the street where I was supposed to turn and make a left. It was at a dead end. So we ended up at Buttlong. I made a right, and I said, "I'll just make a U and I'll come back this way," you know. So I ended up making a right, and when I come to 24th and Buttlong, there's a car coming westbound like this, heading east, and he turns kind of like this, and we're kind of met up in the corner like this. And I looked in, and he looked at us, and I recognized some of the dudes. I was busted with them. Yeah, they were from Drifters. And my homeboy says, "Pélate, Artie, they got cohetes." And I can, you know, I didn't see the cohetes. All I know that he said that. When I try to take off, you know, cuando rechina la llanta, and you can't read it, it just goes like that. Yeah. I'm trying to get control of the car, trying to bail out, and I look, and I can see those vatos leaning out of the car. And they just blasted on us, bro. And finally, boom, I was able to connect with the floor with the car, and we ended up taking off. And when I looked, my homeboy got hit twice in the head. Ended up being a 30-30 rifle, so it was powerful. Yeah. Left a big hole, pretty much almost blew his head off. And a 9mm. And bro, that was one of the craziest things, because I can see mass and blood flowing from his head, and I'm shocked. And I just started going, "Ah!" I got shocked. That was my best friend, you know. And so I got to the neighborhood. I was able to get to Juliet. I didn't even put the brakes. I just put the emergency brakes. The homeboys ran because they didn't recognize the car with their cuetes.
And this was your homeboy Gumby.
Gumby.
Correct?
Yeah.
The one that was working with your father.
Yeah.
The one that said, I don't want to go to hell.
Yeah.
Let's go to church. Let's
Yeah.
go to church. And this was the night that you asked him to give you.
To go to the neighborhood with me.
Wow.
You know, and then I'll go to church with him on Sunday. Well,
He didn't make
he
it.
didn't make it, carnal. He was in life support for a week, and he died. He ended up dying in the hospital. And I remember just telling God, okay, that's how you wanted to be? Fine. You want to kill my homie like a dog when he was trying to take me to church? And I told him, screw you. Literally, bro, I had that conversation with God. Screw you.
Yeah.
And from that point on, bro, you know, Victoria, pobrecitos, bro. They would come to the neighborhood, and I would tell the homies, oh, they're hiding behind the Bible, dog. Trust me, they're active. And we would jump them, you know?
Yeah.
That was my way of getting at God. And it led to that, bro, where now,
So you guys would jump guys coming from Victoria
Yeah.
Church. Wow, that's heavy.
yeah,
Oh man, Gernot, David.
yeah.
Continue, Gernot.
So it went on like that for a while. Now, you know, doing drive-bys,
Yeah.
stabbing vatos, you got a name for yourself,
Yeah.
right? I'm 18 years old. I get back with my girl. But this time my girlfriend was really scared of me. Let me just share this one thing with her because that's going to play a role in my deliverance. So what happened was that we ended up breaking up. She ended up hooking up with my homeboys. They were kids. They were like 12 years old.
Yeah.
You know, I was 3 years older. They were kids. And make a long story short, we decided to get back. And while I was waiting for her, she went to school. While I was waiting for her, I got jumped by Rockwood. So I called my homeboys. Hey, you know, I got a cueta. I need to get some bullets. You know, come pick me up.
Yeah.
So my homeboys were like, all right, Cali, you know, I'll go pick you up. We'll go to the neighborhood.
Yeah.
So I ended up going to where their hangout was to get some bullets. And when I'm there, I see my girl walking with the guy holding hands, bro.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, bro. So I literally, you know, I drove up to her, get in the car, and she was like telling the guy, "Hey, just go. I know how Artie is. Trust me, just go." Bro, I beat her up pretty bad, you know.
Yeah.
Beat her up.
Yeah.
Got her in the car, had the cuete with bullets. My homeboy was like, "Don't shoot her, carnal." I go, man, I'm gonna teach this girl something. Yeah. I beat her up pretty bad, bro. I ended up throwing down with my homeboy, telling him, "Hey, you know what? I'm not throwing down because you're with my girl. I'm throwing down because you disrespected me. You know, homies don't do that to each other, you know."
Yeah.
So anyways, you know, that went down. Took her to the house. She ran up the stairs. Once I opened the door, she ran up. I followed her. Her mom was freaking out. "Please, David, don't kill her." And I'm just stomping on her, bro. You know, and you know. And please don't think I find joy in that.
No, you're speaking.
Yeah.
This is what this show's about, Garna.
Yeah.
So don't think, and you don't forgive me. It's like I talk to a lot of Garnas, and it gets heavy on me because I hear heavy stories.
Yeah, no, I hear
you know,
you.
and you're not gonna hear these stories on any other show. You're not gonna hear these stories on any other podcast. Only Barrio Driven, because we bring the real to you. You know, this man is pouring his heart. You know, this is not something he wrote right now 5 minutes ago. This is life. What he's sharing is his life, and it gets no realer than this show, Karna.
Yeah.
So please forgive me if it's
No worries,
because
bro.
I want to continue on, Karna, por favor.
So after I beat her up, and you know, with the intention of I did my thing. Now I'm gonna move on. We're never getting back again. You know, when you have that mindset, estufas, you want to leave her something to remember you of.
Yeah.
So I'm walking out, and I got my cuete, and I'm gonna go to the vatos from Drifters.
Yeah.
You know, because they killed my homeboy Gumby.
Yeah.
And so I'm walking, and my brother tells me, "Hey, bro, where are you going?" "I'm going to do a walk by, man." He goes, no, what are you doing, man? It's too hot out there. I go, "Leave me alone, bro." So he freaks out. So he goes and tells my wife, Sonia, they say, "Hey, you know, please help me. You're the only one that he'll listen to." She's like, "He just beat me up. He's not going to listen to me."
Yeah.
And he goes, please, man, if David goes out there, they'll kill him, you know?
Yeah.
So he ends up going, right? And we ended up going, he ends up coming out, and I'm walking, and they're both following me. So I can hear her voice, and it just got me angry. You know what I mean? Like, dude, you just, whatever, right? So when she was behind me, it was like from here, maybe to the wall, a little bit further back. I turned around, I pointed the cueta, I said, "Man, y'all better back off." And she's like, "Stop, Dave." And I just blasted them, bro. I didn't hit him.
Yeah.
So thank God that I didn't realize that there's a cord, you know, that makes the gun jump, bro. I would have shot her or my brother. She was like, "I'm done. You can do it." And she ended up taking off, right? Yeah. And that day, another homeboy came up to me. He drove up and he says, "Artie, get in the car. I'll take you." No, he says, get in the car. You're stupid. Don't go over there, bro. You know how hard. And I said, canal. And I told him, listen to me. And he probably watches this, man, but this is just a story, right? Yeah. This is how it happened. And I got in the car and I told him, you're going to take me to go do this walk by, this drive by. He's like, dog, I don't want to burn my car. I said, no, you're going to do it, carnal. See, let me tell you something. I said, when I was busted, I heard about you. I said, I heard what you were hanging out with the vatos from Drifters. And I said, I didn't say nothing, carnal. And I said, but if you don't do it, I'm gonna expose you to the homies. Hey, dog, I grew up with the guy, you know, blah, 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 blah. And I said, it doesn't matter. I said, you take me, man, or I'm going to put one on you right now. He said, all right, carnal, hey, put the cuete down. I'll give you a ride. But the whole time he's begging me, bro, don't burn my car, burn my car, you know? Yeah. So, you know, afterwards I calmed down. I said, all right, look, drop me off here, pick me up in the corner. He said, all right. I said, all right. So he drops me off. You know, I walked to where the vatos were. I didn't hit anybody, bro. Yeah. But they ran from me, so I'm chasing them, blasting on them. Yeah. He meets me in the corner. I take off, and so that goes there. So going back, so my girl now, once my homeboy Gumby died, she always said that she thought my homeboy Gumby was going to be the reason why we break up because he was a little player and he was always bringing hyenas, you know. So, you know, she played the Ouija board and the Ouija board told her that I was going to cheat on her. So she listened to the Ouija board. So that's what she broke up with me. So anyways, so finds out that now I get with my girl. We get back. She ends up getting pregnant. I turned 19 years old. And we told her, hey, no, we need to move out. She was 16. I told her, we need to move out, get away from the barrio, you know. Yeah. But in my mind, I'm thinking, we're going to take the hood over there, you know, and we're going to start a clique over there, right? Over there. So, but, you know, you're telling her whatever she wants to hear so she can go along with it. So she agrees, right? We ended up going over there, and this is where I became a Christian. At this time, I'm a little más calmadito because my girl's pregnant. Yeah. She has the kid. And my brother Angel, we ended up moving out with my cuñado, who was also from Harpies, both of them. And they were going to get in a fight with the vatos from Ontario. They were going to lock them up there. You know, the whole LA thing, the Indian thing. So, but there was a guy named Robert Garcia who jumped in and began to preach at them. Hey, the Bible says this. And the vatos from Ontario were like, hey, man, we don't want to hear that. And then the guy, Garcia, Robert, tells him, hey, man, you guys were supposed to go to church with me on Sunday. What happened? Yeah. The guys were like, oh, this Spencer Canana, we got to go. You know how it is. They try to avoid him. Yeah. So they ended up leaving, and the fight didn't continue, but he stuck around and still witnessed to my brother. So my brother took his number down. He said, all right, give me a number, whatever. So this guy would call the house all the time, bro. He said, but, you know, calling. Yeah. And then one day I picked up the phone and he's sharing Jesus. And I yeah, man, we're talking about Jesus, man. Of course. So then he started coming over, bro. And like, bro, why is this fool coming over, man? Yeah. So when he would come over, he would talk, but I was getting irritated inside. Yeah, so I was like, man. So one day I told him, you know what? I said, you know what? I'm gonna get at him, you know, because I knew a little bit about the Bible. So I'm gonna get at this fool. Yeah. So I started asking him questions, bro. A bunch of questions. Man, this vato had an answer for every question. I was like, man, this vato's sharp, you know. Yeah. So one day, bro, I went to work and I came, and he would constantly pay visits to us and you know try to take us to church. Yeah. But one day when I came home, he was there with my girlfriend, my wife now, and he was witnessing to her, telling her about Jesus. But in my mind, I'm thinking, oh, this girl's trying to play me, you know, like this vato's good looking, he's gonna be a sheriff, you know what I'm saying? Like the competition there, you know. You're thinking, yeah, of course. So I was like, all right. So I said, hey, Rob, let me have a word with you, carnal. And he said, yeah. I said, Cali. I go, look, homie, we know what you got to say about God. That's firme. Don't come back no more. He goes, what? He goes, don't come back no more, dog. Next time, it's going to be different. And I'm being serious with you, man. Yeah. And he looked at me and he said, okay. I said, all right, firme. My mind thinking, there goes the threat, you know? Yeah, no. But then he says, hey, David? I said, yeah. He goes, go to church with me on Wednesday, and I won't come back. In my mind, I was like, okay. You know, like, okay, the threat's gone, bro. You know, I said, all right, I'll go with you, Holmes. Yeah. So that Wednesday, bro, I was making deliveries, I remember. And I remember I was in the car and I started yelling, literally, like telling God, I'm going to go in there, I'm going to walk back out. And I said, and you ain't going to touch me. I ain't going to give my life to you. F you. You know, you killed my whole... I started just like, bro, I'm weeping, bro. I'm literally crying. I didn't realize I was under conviction already. The Holy Spirit already took control of my heart. Yeah. But I'm like, what? You'll see. I'm gonna walk in and walk out. Yeah. So we go with David Rosales, Carachapuchino Valley, and so I went right with the intention, come in, come out. Yeah. And I'm sitting there at the end, bro, and he's giving the message of the cross. But this time, it was before the movie The Gibson, you know, The Passion of the Christ. So it was intriguing because he began to talk about the details, how they killed him, a Roman crucifixion. And I'm listening to it, bro, and I'm saying, dude, that's crazy. And bro, all my homies are coming to my mind. How and even myself, when they died, how a lot of them were running.
Yeah.
And I think, he didn't run. He took it from me. And bro, for the first time, I felt like, man, this is crazy stuff.
Yeah.
And I remember just thinking like, and I started like talking to God. I told him like this. I said, look, God, I said, I'm only 19 years old. I still want to party. I still want to drink. I mean, I still want to gangbang, man. I'm at the prime of my life as a cholo. You know what I'm saying? And I'm saying, and I said, but if you change my heart, I'll serve you, man. I'll serve you, God. And the pastor gives the altar call, and the guy standing next to me, Robert, and he says, hey, I know you. I go, hey, bro, if you want to go, I'll go down with you. And I said, Charles, I can do this on my own. You know, we still want to have that control.
Yeah, you wanted to, yeah.
So I said, no, I'm going on my own. So I start walking up there, right? And I'm standing there, and the pastor says, all right, I'm going to say a prayer, you know, the whole thing. I want you to repeat it after me. And he says, right? And then afterwards, bro, when I said the prayer, I look up and he says, welcome to the family of God.
Amen.
That day, bro, I felt like there was a burden lifted off my life.
Yeah.
I felt like a kid again.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord. And I remember, got excited, bro. I went to my dad's, my dad where he was, and I knocked, boom, boom, my mom opened the door, she's still crazy.
Yeah.
Mom, ¿dónde mi papá? Está en el cuarto, right? So I ran in, my dad's asleep. I woke him up, Dad, I gave my life to Jesus. And my dad's like, yeah, all right. I said, you know what, Dad? I said, just look at my life from this day forward, man.
Amen.
That's all I ask.
Yeah.
And from that day, bro, I just started preaching the gospel. Man, the Lord began to use me, man. Many people were coming to a saving knowledge of Christ. And now it's like, but I got to go reach the homies, you know?
Yeah.
So I go to the homies, bro, and because, again, es la familia. You know, you get that.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I my first had John 3:16 right here. I did a had it down for Jesus, and I went there. And there's about 60 of the homies right there just hanging. And I get there, hey, ¿qué onda, carnal? And they're like, hey, homie, where you from? John 3:16, what, you barro hopping? Like, nah, carnal, it's Jesus, man, let me tell you. So I start preaching to them, bro.
Yeah.
And they, you know, they start laughing and clowning on me. And, but it hurt me. Like, it hurt me.
Of course.
And I remember just thinking, like, dude, these are family. I was willing to die for these fools.
Yeah.
And what's going on here? So the next couple of weeks, I still kept going to the neighborhood. And finally, when I went one day with my homeboy crying, my homeboy Primo, paz descanse, we were getting high. Well, they were getting high. I had a beer and I was gonna get drunk with them.
Yeah.
But bro, and I was drinking. I couldn't get buzzed. I was like, what the heck? Hey, you try this guy now. So I said, all right, we'll try it. You know, a little mota there.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, dog, this is good. And I was like, bro, this is bunk, bro. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Bro, now looking back, I realized the Lord kept me from getting high.
Wow.
So I was like, dude, this is stupid.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at them and I say, crying. He goes, what's up, dog? Jesus loves you, bro. And he goes, what? And I go, man, God loves you guys. And I start crying, bro.
Yeah.
Me soy llorón, el Dios.
Yeah.
And I start crying. I go, God, I love you guys, man.
Yeah.
Say, man, the homies are dropping like flies. I don't want you guys to get, you know, the same message that Gumby gave me.
Yeah.
And the homie said, hey, dog, don't be killing our high. We don't want to hear that crap no more. I said.
Yeah.
And so I left that place saying, man, Lord, this is all I know. This is all I have.
Yeah.
I said, God, help me. And God told me that day in my heart, he said, David, I'm going to bless you with a whole new family.
Hallelujah.
Just watch.
Yes.
And I said, okay. So I left for 20 years, bro. And of course, there's a lot of things that went on in ministry. And if you want to talk about that another day, that's fine. Or now, it's up to you. But I remember, bro, let me just share this part. My homeboy just got killed about 2 years ago. My homeboy Tavo, or 2 or 3 years ago. Right here, I don't know if you heard about it right here in Downey. They said that these guys broke into a radio store, and the owner of the shop shot them and killed them.
Oh, man.
It was a hit. They went to collect.
Yeah.
My homeboy became a Christian, and he didn't want to go with the other homeboy to go collect.
Yeah.
He told him, Doc, I just got out of work.
Yeah.
And he's like, come on, don't leave me down. You know, the paro thing.
Yeah.
He said, all right. So he ended up going with him. When he ended up going, the news says that they locked him in and shot them. It was like, as soon as they walked in, they closed the door, shot my homeboy Tavo in the head, and they killed the other guy. One of the vatos from Barrio Mojado was able to get away, and that's how we got the story.
Yeah.
He survived. So anyways, I go to the funeral.
Yeah.
And I'm at the funeral, and I'm like, what am I doing here, Lord? I thought you wanted me to be here to tell them about God. It's been 20 years, man. 20-something years now.
Yeah.
So I'm there, and I'm trying to share the gospel, but God wouldn't let me. I couldn't say anything, bro.
Yeah.
They're all just getting high and drunk. You know how it is in the funeral and the servicios. And then I'm sorry, all right, whatever, So I ended up leaving. And then I get home, and my wife's there. She goes, what happened? I go, man, I couldn't share the gospel, man. God wouldn't let me. She goes, are you going back for the entierro? And I was like, nah, let the dead bury the dead, man. I just move on. That's it. So I go to sleep, bro, right?
Yeah.
I wake up around 6 a.m. And I just wake up and I'm like, and I hear the Lord, go.
Go.
I said, what am I going to go for? Like,
Yeah.
the homies, they're just there, man.
Yeah.
So I ended up going. I called another homie who goes to my church. Hey, dog, go with me, man. I want to go alone.
Yeah.
I said, let's go, man. So we ended up going, bro, and I'm sitting there. Bro, there's nothing going on. I mean, there's just a coffin, a bunch of homies. I'm talking about like a few hundred maybe, all around there, crying, talking. And I'm standing right there just looking at everybody. My heart, stories come in my mind. God, there's so much more that, you can't say a lot in an hour.
Yeah.
But I was having memories, and I just started praying for them, bro. And then afterwards, someone says, hey, William comes and says, hey, bro. She goes, guess what? I go, what's up, man? He goes, come. I go, what happened? He said, well, carnal, we've been here for a while and nothing's happening. I go, why? What's going on? He goes, well, the priest didn't show up, man. So I just told her that you're a pastor. He goes, what? He goes, yeah, she asked me if you can do the funeral. I said, what? Are you serious? Yeah, let's go. So I go up to her, and I know her because when we used to gangbang, she was living in the corner when I want to kickbacks in Estrella. So I go up to her and I says, ¿Cómo está, señora? He goes, mijo, aquí nomás. And I go, mire, I'll do you the favor. I'll go up there. I said, but I need you to do me a favor. She goes, yeah, I go, I need you to hold my hand. I need you to stand next to me. I said, I don't want the homies thinking that I'm just imposing myself on them,
Yeah.
And I said, so out of respect, if you would stand next to me, at least they'll know that you've asked me and give me the permission to address, my homie. And she goes, sí, mijo, I'll do it. I said, okay, so I'm going to hand, and then I go, tell me something about him so that I can share.
Yeah.
And he goes, last week he walked forward to give his life to the Lord. Amen. And then I said, oh, praise the Lord. I said, you just made it easy for me, man.
Yeah.
So I got up there, bro, and I began to share the gospel. I have pictures on my phone.
Yeah.
I began to share the gospel, bro.
Yeah.
And of course, homies were like, some of them were impressed, but others were like, whatever, they don't care. And I'm driving home, and I drop off that other guy. And I'm driving, bro, and God said, see, I told you I was going to bring you back when I was ready.
Yeah.
Bro, God gave me the desires of my heart to share with my homeboys, man.
Amen.
And there it was, 20-something years later, I'm doing a funeral, and I'm able to tell them, hey, guys, Jesus loves you guys. And he died on the cross for you. That was in heaven, not because of he was a good guy or a bad guy. Some of you guys know him as a bad guy, but because he placed his faith and trust in Christ. And you know something, bro? And that just shows you that when you make God your delight, according to Psalms 37, he will give you the desires of your heart.
Exactly.
So that was my life, my conversion. Now, the other part is a whole different, because I still had to deal with the anger, the resentment, the unforgiveness. In fact, just so you guys will know, there was restoration with my father. Yeah. I was giving my testimony at a church one day, and I'm looking down, and my dad's right there.
Wow.
And I said, wait a minute. I talk about my mom's rape, how I almost killed my dad, how I beat up my grandma, my mom.
Yeah.
And then I said to myself, I never even apologized
to your father
or asked him permission. So I went up to him. I said, Dad, I said, me and my brother had a meeting with him. And I said, Dad, I want to apologize to you, man, for dragging your name on the floor. I said, for just putting everything out there, man, the way we did. Yeah. And I said, but I have a question for you. He goes, yeah. He goes, why didn't you believe me, Dad? I said, why didn't you believe us when we told you that we were molested?
Yeah.
And my dad started crying. And he said, mijo, Johnny, your brother, was a liar. He lied all the time. He goes, and when he told us, I didn't believe him. Yeah. He goes, but if I can have that day back, he says, I would have believed you.
Yeah.
He goes, it would have saved us a lot of pain.
Yeah. And
for the first time I saw my dad as a human being. So I hugged him. And I said, Dad, we forgive you, man. And he goes, no. He said, forgive me. And I said, we forgive you, Dad.
Yeah.
And then I said, hey, let me ask you a question, Dad. I go, yeah. I said, can I have permission to share our story? Yeah. He said, mijo, go for it, man. Yeah. If it's going to bring glory to God, do it. Yeah. I said, all right. And then I said, Dad, can I ask you a question? I go, are you happy? He goes, I am. My sons are with the Lord. And then I said, Dad, then you have your sons back.
That's right.
You know? So now all my brothers are saved. My other brother did 26 years for murder, got out. He's a theologian. My other brother does worship at our church. And my dad, he's getting old, but he plays the bass at church, man. So now I even told my mom, Mom, ¿está feliz? Sí, mijo. Okay. My mom now is in heavy medication, you know, so that's the way she's living.
Yeah.
The doctor told us that the medication might kill her because inside. And they told us, look, tops 20 years, and the medicine would take her away. What do you guys want to do? We made a decision. You know what? It's better to have my mom for those 20 years and give her the best life than to have her crazy and not know. She's not even going to remember it. So we made that decision. Bro, it's been 30 years.
That's God.
She's 10 years overdue. And you know what I mean? And she still talks with us. I mean, you can still see little signs that, you know, that the medic, you know, because it just gets worse and worse. But right now, bro, that's us. You know, my dad and mom serving with us.
As you were saying that they tried to shoot you not only once, but twice. Twice as you're running for your life. The first time when they pulled up, it jammed, and which was a plan, a great plan, you know what I'm saying, whatever the case may be. And then the second time, you just got hit, you just got pistol whipped, you're on the floor, and the gun is jamming. What do you think the purpose was that both of these guns jammed? What do you think the purpose was?
Back then, I just thought it was just bad luck for them, I guess.
Yeah.
But now looking back, I realized it was the Lord. My family have been praying for me. I have an aunt, her name is Susie, and my uncle named Cuco, who have been praying for me since I was in gangs. Wow. And I remember they would always tell me, mijo, you're going to die and go to hell if you didn't get right with God. And I'd be like, man, I want to hear that. Yeah. But they were, every time I would see them, you know, my mom's side, they always say, we're praying for you. Yeah. So looking back now, and as a man of faith, I am more than sure that it was the Lord, not only answering my prayer when I was 9 years old, but also the prayers of my aunt and my uncle, and of course my mom in her sickness, as well as my dad. So I believe there was divine intervention there. Wow. You know, I can see the Lord putting his finger on the thing saying, you ain't taking him, wow. You know, and now I'm using the stories to be able to disrupt the enemy's plans.
When they would tell you you're going to go to hell, did you fear hell, David?
No.
You didn't care? I
didn't fear until it became real, in the sense of, let me give you an example. It would bother me a little bit, but I wasn't afraid.
Yeah.
Until one day I was playing Russian roulette. I got a bunch of stories, bro.
Roulette.
I was playing Russian roulette, just trying to be fun. But, you know, I'm going to be honest here, okay?
Yeah.
I looked at the gun. It was a 38, a special. I got the gun, and I took all the bullets off. Yeah. Literally, I took them all off. And then I put it down, and then I spinned it, knowing there was no more bullets in there. Yeah. When I put it down and I went to get a cigarette, my cuñado grabbed all the bullets and put them back on there, right? So by then, he walked away and left the gun there. So I grabbed it, not even thinking twice to look down the barrel, you know, to see if there was bullets on the chamber. But I grabbed it, and I just said, hey, guys, and I spinned it, and I put it on my head, and I was trying to pull it, but I couldn't pull it. And then out of nowhere, my homeboy, Rudy, my cuñado, he runs at me, he says, no. And he hits the gun, and the gun goes off, bro. And it was a big old hole on the wall. My swag, I was like, I can't believe y'all playing with guns. But I remember, bro, the blast was so loud, it blocked everything out. I just heard, ding. Yeah. And I just fainted, bro, boom, like that. And in my mind, I'm thinking, I'm not dead. And I jumped up and I said, I got you guys, like that. But I was shaking, bro, you know. And then I remember thinking, I could have been in hell right now. That was the only time I was afraid.
Really? Wow.
That was the only time I can honestly say, man, I could have been in hell right now, burning for the rest of my life.
Do you ever think of your homeboys that aren't here?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Do you... This is a heavy question for me to ask. Do you carry any guilt or any knowing that you could have reached your homeboys?
I do.
Why didn't you, David?
Pride.
Wow.
And fear of homies bagging on you. You know, you had to live up to this persona, right? This character, this person, gangster. But look, when I share in the Gospels, when I share in churches,
Yeah.
because in the movie, the Lord has opened up doors. Just like you, I travel.
Yeah.
I share my testimony all over the place.
Yeah.
And or when I get opportunity to share in different churches, and I do mention hell, not one day that crosses my mind, not moment that I think of them. I think of my homeboy Bronco, who said, I don't want to go to hell. I pray he's not there,
Yeah.
because it's eternity. My homeboy Gumby, later on in life, I found out that my mom actually prayed with him. That's why he was so telling me, hey bro, let's go to church. I found out that the day when he did talk to my mom, that my mom was praying with him.
Yeah.
And so I'm praying that right there is what got him saved,
Saved, yeah.
So I try to find little things like that to keep myself from going into that road of, that can lead to depression.
Yeah.
Because man, I knew and I didn't.
Yeah.
So now I'm not ashamed to talk about it.
Yeah.
But I believe it's the love of God that's gonna save people. I tell people like this: if we can't love you into the kingdom, then we'll scare you into the kingdom. So and it's the truth though. You give them heaven and you give them hell, and they're the ones that have to make the decision.
That's right. Choice. So you're a miracle, Karnat. God, a lot of people, sometimes say that God isn't real. And that's one thing is, we know a little bit because I was blessed to play this man's life story in a film called The Neighborhood. And it's crazy how never did I know when I was gonna play you that here I am interviewing you. And God is real.
Amen.
I've always tell people God is real because I am a living testimony as well. God has saved me from so much, and I thank God, God is a good God. And, Barrio Driven isn't it's not a Christian, it's not like a Christian, it's a story, it's about life.
Yeah.
But I hear so many stories about how God has changed so many lives. You're one of them. Mm-hmm. We just did interviews earlier that it's God, it's God. So no one can ever tell me that God is not real. If you were to look in that camera, and I want you to look in that camera, and if there was a young person, if let's just say a youngster came to you, okay, and he just said, oh, hey homie, I heard about you, how you were active for the barrio and all the work that you put in, homie, sabes que, I'm gonna outdo you, homie, homie, I heard, and man, homie, you're someone that I aspire to be, that life, homie. What would you tell a youngster that said, hey, I want to be just like you, homie? Not the Christian man, because I don't like that one, but I want to be that one out there that would be willing to die for my neighborhood, that would be willing to kill my enemies. Look into the camera and tell us.
Well, this is what I would tell you. It's all a lie. You'll be used and abused, and you'll be alone. I know guys right now who are on death row, my homeboy Toy, and I talked with him, and he tells me, you know what, Dave, go win my homeboys. He said, you know what, I wish I would have made better decisions and not be here. And I can tell you that's the life. You end up dead. As I mentioned, I lost 17 of my homeboys to gang violence. A lot of other homeboys to drug abuse, overdoses and stuff like that. And only a few have escaped from that lifestyle and are doing okay. They still have a lot of things they have to deal with because of the things they saw, a lot of the betrayal they have to heal from, a lot of the disrespect, because they decide to get alive to do something good, and it's all a lie. You can have a life without gangs, and my encouragement to you is familia. Family is important, man. They truly, truly love you. And if they act a certain way towards you, it's probably because they're frustrated because they can't get through you. But one day, just look into their eyes. When they're asleep, I do this with my dad and my mom. When they're asleep, I look at them and I say to myself, man, I put them through a lot of pain, a lot of sorrow. And if I can rewind the world, which I can't, I would have done it and give them a better life. But now I know that they're blessed because I gave my life to Christ. But I'll tell you, man, it's all a lie. Don't follow after that path. Because like I said, either dead, in prison, or homeless. Only a few make it. And there's no guarantee that you'll be part of that few.
David, we want to thank you for being a part of Barrio Driven and sharing your story. God bless you. Where can they find your social media, and where is your church located at? We want to get as many people that, and please support, if you're in his area, where his church is at, go pay the church a visit. It's a good church. I know this man. I can vouch for this man. This man loves God. He's changed his life dramatically. I didn't know his story, and now I do, and I'm blessed to know your story. And you've had one of the heaviest, if not the heaviest story that I've heard. I've sat here, and as I shared earlier, I've seen men cry just like you. I've seen people say, man, I regret this, I regret that. Heavy, heavy stories, So you are real, and the love of God is real. Where can they find your church, and where's your social media platform? Please share that.
I'm at, actually in Facebook and Instagram. You can look me at as David N. Trujillo. Or you can visit my website is www.ccsola.org. That's www.C as in cat, S as in Sam, O as in Oreo, L as in Leva, and A as in Apple.org. If you go there, you can connect to all my social media places where you can kind of look into what we do. And I can tell you this, we're a church that just wants to grow. We're beggars trying to show beggars where to find food. That's all it is. We're not here to judge you or condemn you. We're here to love on you guys, man, and to help you guys the best that we can. Because I know that there's some people that are struggling. Guess what? That's what God saved me. We work with marriages. We work with addictions. We work with people who are just tormented by their past, and we just try to be a blessing to them. So visit us there. Yeah. That's where you can find me.
Pastor David, thank you for being a part of Barrio Driven. God bless you. God bless your family.
Thank you, bro. Appreciate it. Likewise.
This is Barrio Driven.